Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ben's MicroVision Podcast, a podcast for entertainment and general information purposes only, not a financial advice podcast. If you're new here, my name is Ben. I am the author of Ben's MicroVision blog back since 2004, and the company MicroVision's former global product manager for wearable displays back from 2006 to 2011 timeframe. And now, 14 years after leaving the company, I'm still a big supporter and advocate for what they're doing, and enjoy the opportunity to try to explain why MicroVision may be uniquely positioned in the market to change the world in a fundamental way. So let's dig in. In the last episode, we were talking about Anduril and Meta and their collaboration to create the Eagle Eye product for the Department of Defense, and how MicroVision could be positioned with its laser scanning display engine to meet the needs of that product opportunity better than any alternative display technology could. And as we were talking through it, I said something to the effect of, you may be asking yourself, why did they reposition the company towards automotive LIDAR as the exclusive focus when augmented reality has been the legacy of the company going back 30 years and has certainly recently emerged as a very exciting and huge potential vertical and market opportunity. So I kind of teased it and left it at that, but now I want to revisit it and talk a little bit about why the company was positioned towards automotive LiDAR, and now that it appears that augmented reality is back on the menu, what might be a great strategic positioning for the company to take at this point, given some of the recent changes that they've put forward, specifically the military market opportunity, in addition to automotive and industrial. So back in 2020, the company was kind of in not the greatest position. The prior CEO had been working on a deal with a unnamed big tech company to embed a MicroVision interactive projector into a smart speaker, which I think probably would still be a great product, but MicroVision brought the product all the way to production readiness of a laser scanner with a IR sensor. Basically, it's a LIDAR plus a projection display in one package that could be integrated into a smart speaker housing. So that had been the focus of the prior CEO, to try to make a deal to bring that product to market. The company left MicroVision high and dry, and the former CEO left. Sumit got promoted to CEO, and he decided, and it was his first decision probably, reposition the company towards automotive LiDAR. And in so doing, create an exclusive focus and strategy around that product. So the company was rebranded Safe Mobility at the Speed of Life, and all the marketing material was all about automotive and MicroVision's sort of unique value proposition in that space, which of course all holds true today, which is small form factor, low power, high performance and resolution, low cost at scale. And since that rebranding, of course, they've been able to recapitalize the company, give themselves some runway. They bought Ibeo a year or so after that, and then added another technology node. So you've got MEM scanning for long range, you've got the flash LiDAR for short range. So you've got the opportunity to create 3D sensing cocoons around vehicles using the best modality for each sensing that needs to happen. So this has actually been a big success story from a certain point of view in terms of recapitalizing the company and getting off the mat. So while we wait, of course, for the validation of big wins to happen in the marketplace, we recognize that we went from really rough shape in 2020 to pretty decent shape right now. And I do believe that a large part of that is because of the strategic repositioning towards automotive LIDAR that Sumit led. Okay, so now it's a few years later. All the large companies that have been working on augmented reality have been experimenting with micro LEDs. As we discussed last week, they've come to the conclusion that there's a limit to the power efficiency of these micro LEDs. There's also some constraints on the mass manufacturability of them. And so micro LED as the solution for consumer augmented reality or augmented reality in other markets is maybe not as sort of viable and assumed as people may have thought looking back a little while. So laser scanning is coming back to the fore as the solution to create see-through eyewear displays with the lowest power and the highest performance. So that's wonderful for MicroVision because MicroVision has the best technology for creating a beautiful display from a laser scanning engine, and it's already proven. It's been in commercial products, it's in this military prototypes, and what have you. So what this means is there's a market opportunity for MicroVision to pursue that's probably nearer term than it has been for some time. And that market opportunity is based on technology that MicroVision has had on the shelf for a little while now. So how do you position the company and your sort of go-to-market strategy and your messaging when you've got automotive LIDAR, industrial LIDAR, the 3D sensing and perception software over here, and the laser scanning ultra miniature projectors for consumer and military augmented reality, over here. Now, at the same time as all this, you've had this explosion in artificial intelligence where ChatGPT and Gemini and all these services can essentially reason and interact with you verbally with really astonishing levels of, grammatical accuracy and what appears to be reasoning and thought process. So this has all happened in just the last couple of years, and it's caused absolute transformation, and it's going to cause more transformations as time goes along. But essentially, all of the AI is happening in a 2D plane. It's making files, essentially. So you can talk to it and it can give you some text. You can type something in and it'll interpret what you said and generate an image. Or you can put in a prompt and it will generate a video file, right? Or you can give it 3 images and ask it to create a 3D video-like thing, right? So the computers have gotten very smart at communicating and rendering images and rendering videos based on natural language inputs. So this has been an astonishing thing. But what the computers don't do yet is see. And this is where MicroVision potentially could kind of reposition in a more comprehensive way. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what I imagine there. So how do you create a message that resonates across automotive and industrial autonomy and military and consumer augmented reality? Well, how about this? Spatial intelligence for a connected world. In this version of reality, MicroVision's position is around spatial intelligence. So 3-dimensional AI, essentially. MicroVision delivers a spatial intelligence platform integrating LIDAR, sensor fusion, and visualization to power autonomy and situational awareness across defense, mobility, and spatial computing applications. Okay, a very modern kind of retelling of the story, and essentially reclaiming the 30 years of augmented reality development and making that a first-class citizen for the company. Spatial intelligence for a connected world means seeing, understanding, and acting in 3D real time. So it combines the precision sensing of the solid-state LIDAR for environment scanning, the AI perception for mapping and sensor fusion and path planning and controlling the motion of these robots and cars and drones, and then the visualization, where the laser beam scanning displays are packaged in a product that creates a military augmented reality and consumer eyewear product. So the spatial intelligence positioning gives the company a multi-market platform across automotive and industrial mobility, defense and tactical systems, aerial drones, and consumer augmented reality. Here's another way to try to represent or understand this. At the foundation of everything, starting at the bottom, you've got laser beam scanning, which is MicroVision's core intellectual property and accomplishment throughout its 30 years plus of being around. That foundation is embodied by some hardware, solid-state LIDAR sensors, as well as ultra-miniature laser projectors. Each of those hardware products are augmented with software, 3D perception software and sensor fusion in the case of LIDAR sensors, and kind of digging in a little bit, the laser drive and the MEMS control algorithms, which are essentially the software that's embedded in the integrated circuits that make the miniature laser projectors go. Okay, so with the combination of hardware and software, we have products and reference designs. In the LIDAR sensors world, we've got Maven N and Movia L and Movia S. They combine the solid-state LIDAR sensor hardware with the 3D perception and sensor fusion capability in the near future. And then on the ultra-miniature projector side, the products and reference designs could be the laser projector modules themselves, just the MEMS, or the IP and the know-how to produce these products. From an application standpoint, you've got ADAS and autonomy on the LiDAR sensor side, and then augmented reality on the ultra-miniature laser projector side. And then at the top we've got markets. So we've got industrial, automotive, and aerial, meaning drones, on your LiDAR sensor side. And sort of straddling both is defense, where autonomy and augmented reality are both hugely important. And then on the spatial and consumer AR side, you've got another enormous market that is starting to take shape. Okay, let's talk a minute about go-to-market strategy. From this core positioning of MicroVision delivering a spatial intelligence platform, we can offer a unified tech stack, but a modular offering to the market. So what that means is, based on the customer's needs, we can offer them Maven or Movia or laser scan modules as the hardware. We can offer them the perception stack and the sensor fusion engine as the software, and we can offer reference designs for each of those products as well, in case they want to handle the manufacturing and MicroVision kind of become more of a IP licensing shop than a company responsible for actually building and manufacturing products. So you could imagine MicroVision doing direct sales to the defense primes, the UAV integrators, industrial and automotive OEMs, as we've heard a lot about, strategic partnerships in certain cases, and then licensing and IP monetization for consumer tech players who probably will want to take the ball and run with it rather than be dependent in their supply chain on a smaller company like MicroVision. Integrator kits and SDKs to reduce friction and enable scale. the entire concept here is around making it as easy as possible for customers to take the MicroVision components that make the spatial intelligence platform work and select what's relevant for their market and product opportunity and take it and go. Okay, so spatial intelligence for a connected world means you've got the specific opportunities for automotive, industrial, defense, aerial, and spatial that are unique and differentiated and value added, and MicroVision's core technology and platform supports all of them. So what I put together here is essentially a reframing of the company relative to the market segments it wants to serve and the technology that it's got to serve them with. So you've got an integration of LIDAR sensors plus augmented reality displays. And you could conceivably put the interactive projection displays in there too. And I'd love to see that, and maybe I can go back and do it again with that in there. But you want to get the maximum value from the assets that the company already has. And now we see this acceleration of interest in the military space across AR and the 3D sensing modes. And so you need an integrated message to address them. Now, from where I sit, spatial intelligence is the right angle and position because augmented reality happens in 3D space. The content is relative to your position. It's not just sitting and watching TV on the couch or with a pair of glasses, right? It's about head up, hands free, going around, follow the arrow. Everything is relative to your 3D space. So if I'm in the supermarket, it knows what I'm looking at. It knows I'm looking at a can of Campbell's soup, and it can direct me to the thing that has the least sodium, whatever, right? It's about the awareness in space and then delivering the information that's appropriate for that context back to the user. So spatial intelligence fits the augmented reality use case, and it certainly fits the 3D LiDAR use case. Okay, for a connected world, really describes the, I guess, ubiquity of these use cases. So you can imagine 3D LiDAR mapping the world. If I've got my LiDAR sensors on 80% of the world's cars, which would sure be nice to see, the data that those systems are generating could be collected to map the world, or at least the areas where those cars are driving, right? That data could itself be hugely valuable. So that's a thing too. The robots in the warehouses and industrial facilities, they're now sensing in 3D space. They're interacting with the world using perception and logic and rules that are essentially generative AI, but in a 3D mode. So instead of just talking to you, it's going to do something. So it's like seeing so you can do things. And it's so seeing so these robots and intelligent vehicles can do things. So it's seeing so you can do, like, avoid the obstacle or avoid the wreck or plan the path or whatever. This is, in my opinion, a much higher value thing than responding to a prompt with some believable English language response, or responding to a prompt so you can make an image of whatever, Will, what's his name, eating a bunch of noodles. So from where I sit, these 3D spatial intelligence use cases are dramatically more valuable than the existing AI use cases. Okay, they are more transformative by virtue of giving robots, I guess, the intelligence and sensing necessary to function, to pick the right thing from the box, to be able to understand their position in 3D space and what they can do inside of that 3D space better than any camera ever could enable. So it's a it's an interesting place for MicroVision to be. They have the hardware and software suite necessary to address each of these end markets. They just need to come up with a branding and a go-to-market positioning that really resonates. It's got to resonate with investors, it's got to resonate with the employees, it's got to resonate with the customers, and basically everybody. So, when I posted a thing maybe 2 weeks ago, a couple of folks have kind of given me the business a little bit, basically saying, I'm sticking up for management and, they haven't delivered the kind of revenue that people would hope for and expect. And, that may all be fair, but what I guess I'm saying is the company has been navigated to this point where they now have multiple market segments that they can address with the core technology and platform. And so if they don't take too long to come up with the branding, positioning, go-to-market, they can attract a lot of interest and capital from the market for their product solutions, which are really unique and transformative. We've seen just in the last couple of weeks, one LIDAR company got approved to be put on a list for procurement by the Department of Defense for drones. They got approved to be put on a list, and they gained some enormous amount of valuation, $200 million, something wild. And we've seen just in the last week, MVIS had a couple of wins, or one win, I guess, a product development agreement with an OEM, and they also talked about a software partnership around smart cities and things like that. And now they've taken off to the races. So the market is hungry for information relative to how these companies are going to address military, sensor intelligence and autonomy, as well as automotive and smart cities and all this stuff. So, and not to mention Ava, who've gone from $2 to $24 in a brief period of time with the frequency multiplied continuous wave approach to LIDAR. And so they've gone to the moon, or at least significantly higher, based on a little bit of traction in the market. So obviously MicroVision needs to get traction in the market more than they need a branding and positioning. 100%, I agree with you there. But at the same time, a branding and positioning that reflects the company's current focus and market opportunities and space in the market across the breadth of applications, specifically let's bring AR back in there, would really be, I think, a very valuable thing. Now, they said when they were doing the military announcement, they talked about the 30-year history of development for the Department of Defense. And they talked about how the go-to-market strategy was going to be developed in partnership with this defense board of advisors that they've put together. So that's great. But I think what the company needs to understand is the market opportunity is right now. And I'm sure they do understand this, but for those of us who are sitting on the outside, we don't see a lot of right now. We see, quarterly conference calls and updates as they happen. But I think it would be a mistake to let 6 to 9 months go by without addressing the scope of the company's opportunities and doing it in a way where people can understand it and consume it and get excited about it and invest in it. So that's what I think about that one. Now a word from our sponsor, Laser Roasted. Laser Roasted isn't just coffee, it's caffeine with a mission. Small batch, roasted to order, and engineered for focus, flavor, and fuel. 1 cup and you'll say, make mine Laser Roasted. Get your bag at laserroasted.com. So I think that's going to do it for today. Thanks so much for sticking with me. Really appreciate everybody's kind words and even words where folks are maybe challenging a little bit of what I'm saying. That's totally okay and great. Please do feel free to challenge my assumptions and make me consider things from another point of view. That's all wonderful. Thanks again. Have a great week to come, and I look forward to getting back with you on the next one. Okay, take care.